everyone, and welcome back to another edition of 13 Cards Subjects Change. Today's going to be a little different of a show, but in a very unique way. Once again, you have just me and Leroy here, so I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I tend to like these shows here, Leroy. Part of it is because, well, first of all, Eric was supposed to come back this week, but due to some health situations, Eric will not be here today. We're hoping to have people back here starting next week. Obviously, there's a situation where, I mean, Leroy and I are both very blessed and lucky to be able to have a schedule where we can come do this a lot. But obviously, it's a fan-based podcast. We love having people on, but sometimes the schedule just doesn't work out that way, and it ends up just having to be both of us.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, we have our own work schedule, and it's nice that we can work around that. And, I tell my boss, hey, I don't want to work Sunday, so you have football and church. And, well, now we got football, church, and podcast. So
there you go.
It's kind of busy,
So basically, the idea I think that we're going to have here is Leroy and I are going to go over some topics that we didn't have a chance to get to last week, but because we got into a great conversation with Eric about a lot of indie stuff.
That was so great.
A lot of fun. Enjoyed it. One of the things we like about our show is we kind of have a template, a bullet point, if you will, of like where we're gonna go, but the show can sometimes just take on a life of its own. And Leroy and I very rarely worry too much about getting back onto our structure. We kind of just go with whatever's there. And if we end up getting back on topic, which I think I tried a couple of times last week, but like I said, I tried to just keep the flow going, and Eric took over. And hey, I've listened back to that show a couple of times. I enjoyed the crap out of it. It was.
I got some quite a few positive feedbacks from people from that show.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it's like whatever we got to do to wing it, and Zach already had a plan and did not tell me about it till he showed up today, which is great. Anyway, it was fun.
Well, so. Right. It's kind of been brought to people's attention that we don't hear too much from you as often, and I'm not necessarily saying that in a laughing tone. That's just kind of how our show sometimes flows. You don't necessarily. I mean, well, but the thing about it is that you don't feel the need a lot of times to explain your opinions. You just kind of give them, and then that's kind of how you are and how you feel, and we just kind of go off that. But what I think will be really unique today is we're going to go over a bunch of topics. We're going to get your perspective, my perspective, and then we're going to come back to these topics when we get more people on the show starting next week.
I like the concept.
Yeah, so basically, this is going to be a show where you're probably going to hear a lot of the same topics next week and maybe the following week, but this is a nice little quick show where we can get the opinions of really just you and me on kind of a lot of the things going on. So, we can get those out there, and, we'll, obviously bring them back up when we have more people on the show. But, obviously, scheduling things are the way that it are, be the way that it be. I guess I went into a weird soliloquy there, if that's even the right word. Either way, so...
well, I do think some of the stuff that we got to talk about that I have down here, we can hit on a few different days in a row, and I don't think anybody's going to be too crazy about that. Has Tony expressed his upset that we didn't talk about AEW?
Not necessarily sure if that's come out yet. We are going to go...
He's been a busy guy lately, too.
So. We are going to go over AEW All Out here, and in fact, I think that's something that we should probably jump right into. We'll get to a couple other things here. So anyway, AEW All Out happens. It's going to be weird because I have a bunch of notes. I have match-by-match notes, which I've taken down. In the past, my notes have been incredibly sort of, FU-ish. However, this is going to get really weird. I actually have some positive things in these notes, which might surprise people and or lose us viewers. Either way, I'm not entirely sure how it's going to work out.
I don't think it's going to lose us any viewers. I think they might enjoy it. I mean, and I do agree with you. I probably will agree with you on some of that. Yeah, I mean,
it's really
there were some good points of the show and some bad points, of course.
Okay, so before we get into it, let's just point something out. We've discussed on the show many times that this is not a brand or a style of wrestling that you and I particularly subscribe to. It's not something that we particularly want to sit down and take 2.5 hours to 3 hours to watch. But it's one of those scenarios where I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna go over some stuff that I liked, that I disliked. We don't necessarily always give these guys positive stuff, but what I think is kind of funny is the feedback I've been reading about All Out. And actually, I'm actually glad we didn't talk about it last week when I've actually been able to sit down and look at the week reviews. Obviously, Meltzer dropped his stuff. Not that I put much into Dave Meltzer when he reviews AEW, because a lot of times he'll sit there.
I don't.
I think he gave Jericho and Cassidy's Mimosa thing like a 4.25 or something. I don't remember what it was, but he was very high on a match that ended with one of the all-time greats, the man who beat Stone Cold and The Rock in the same night, getting dunked in a pool full of orange juice. You really think that was a mimosa? They probably just dumped orange juice in there.
Yeah, well, I got to listen to Jericho afterwards, and he was saying, the whole pay-per-view was great and everything like that. But he did have a few comments.
Well, but here's the thing: this is a pay-per-view. Going back to what I said, giving a week to allow things to happen. The majority of their fans, and even Eric kind of touched on it last week, this is supposedly one of the weakest pay-per-views they've put out.
Yeah.
To a lot of their fans, and I think we should just go right ahead and get right into things here. So here's the deal. It opened with a match that I'm gonna be 100% honest. They should have gone with their gut, and they should have put this on the pre-show. I don't think the pre-show had 2 matches. I can't remember. I think one was like a best friends tag match or whatever. See, here's the deal. You see one best friends tag match, you see them all. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, oh yeah. I agree with you there.
The best friends, to me, have become one of the most bland tag teams because there's not a lot of layers. What I saw their first night in AEW is what I've gotten every night, and they've pretty much been on every Dynamite since.
Oh, yeah.
And
they've been
on
featured many times, yeah.
But anyway, so back to my point. A match that should have been on the pre-show to get it over with. It was a cinematic match between Britt Baker, Dr. Britt Baker, and Big Swole. Now, here's the deal. I don't care that they went cinematic because people have ripped the WWE for their poor cinematic performances. I think that they peaked with Styles and Taker, and I think they've fallen down since. But, anyway, so here's the deal. My notes are as simple. Why is this on the main show? I don't understand it. It made no sense because it was never meant to be taken seriously in the first place. It took place in a dentist's office at which Dr. Britt Baker supposedly practices. I know for a fact that Reba is not her receptionist in real life, so I'm not entirely sure why she was pretending to be the receptionist for this match.
Just for a show, maybe. I don't know.
But... Okay, first and foremost, here's something that... Okay, so the biggest thing in this entire cinematic thing that bothered me was, if this is Dr. Britt Baker's office, why is she in full ring gear?
She should be...
Big Swole showed up in cargo pants and a military-type tank top that just basically meant she was ready for a fight. That's basically what she was there for, okay? And Britt Baker is in her full ring gear that she would wear to the ring if this was a show taking place on the card on Dynamite. And I just, that took me out of it. At least Braun, and everyone's like, well, Braun was in his... Braun's ring gear always looks the same, and it's not really ring gear as much as it's,
Well, his ring gear, I mean, he could be going out for a swim, take his shirt off. Hey, he looks like he's in his ring gear without his gloves.
Which is basically
that's
it.
You know.
So anyway, Reba was completely unnecessary. I don't have any idea why she was there. She was ineffective for at least 90% of the match. I use the term match very loosely here, but
maybe Kenny overed her favor and she needed to be
I
on
don't
or something.
know,
You know,
man, but okay.
Yeah.
And by the way, the other thing that bothered me is every cinematic match that WWE has had. I'm erasing the eye for an eye because for the most part that was a wrestling match that
had some
weird
little
eyes.
things
Yeah. But anyway, every cinematic match for WWE outside of Money in the Bank, which actually I don't even think Money in the Bank really had that much either. There was commentary over this.
Really? I should have watched that.
I haven't gone back and actually rewatched the Money in the Bank, but for the most part, there wasn't any commentary. For the most part, it was just the wrestlers with their funny antics, but also everything happening,
Well, yeah, I mean, they did. I mean, they let it go. They let everything happen.
Yeah.
So they told the story instead of somebody else.
First and foremost, okay, this is a note that I have here that's going to come up a lot. JR doesn't give a damn. JR recently responded to Jim Cornette on Jim Cornette's podcast saying that he's making a mockery of my current project. Dude, you don't care. I'm not getting the Jim Ross and Leroy's printer.
And my printer, I was fighting with it, and I was printing a couple pieces.
Leroy was fighting.
Gotta love this.
Oh God, I love live podcast radio. I do. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
But anyway,
there you go. Hey, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so Jim Ross, I don't care what Jim wants to say in positivity. You are not the same Jim Ross you were during the Ruthless Aggression era. You're not the same Jim Ross you were in the Attitude era. You don't have passion when you commentate. You don't care. By the way, I'm going to address this right now. His whole wardrobe malfunction comment. Can we all grow up and get over ourselves?
Yeah, sometimes we.
I hate to say this, and I hate to be that guy who's going to quote unquote take women back 50 years, but you do realize that part of female wrestling is they dress in ways that are going to get guys excited. That's part of the deal. Like, the guys don't want... Randy Orton's oiled up and doesn't wear a shirt because the females want to watch. Like, this is part of wrestling.
Yeah, and listen to your new Chronicles on YouTube.
The Allison Chronicles, our new YouTube channel. Now,
yes.
I believe chapter 18.
I think so, with your Brad. But hers, as I was listening to it as I was doing stuff and enjoying that. So everybody watch that. It's fun. But she's like, and then, Finn Balor gets on there.
Oh, she loves Finn Balor.
She needed some time alone there or something. She was getting a little excited, it seemed like. In her voice there, I noticed.
I didn't see her for the next match. Let's just put it that way.
But see, I mean, and that's what you say right there. It's like, that's what happens. And the ladies get excited about that, and we get excited about that.
So that is my one comment on JR's quote. I'm not going to go into it anymore. I don't care.
He's getting paid. He's just winging it.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think. I mean, that's what it feels like.
Okay. So again, my notes. This is again a double standard on WWE. If WWE pulled this match, there would be nothing but hatred on Twitter. There would be nothing.
Oh God, yes.
No. Now, yes, I give Dave Meltzer credit that he doesn't review cinematic matches, so he didn't have a review for this. But Dave Meltzer goes out of his way to compliment everything AEW does and doesn't sit there and call it crap, which is where it should be. So anyway, the match ends with Britt Baker first injecting her own leg with Novocaine or lidocaine. I'm not entirely sure what it was.
Well, for the older people, she did a Tim Conway moment from the
it was just,
Carol Burnett show there.
Oh my God! And then it ends with Big Swole, who I'm supposed to take seriously, being this tough, hard-nosed, brawling type lady. She wins it by putting a mask on her and using sleeping gas.
Oh my!
This is how the match ends. You can't tell me that Braun's match against The Fiend was any worse than that. You can't tell me that any cinematic thing that WWE's done so far is any worse than what that just.
Well, I don't think the Braun the swamp match and the way they ended it, was kind of different.
Well, what bothered me about the end of this
that made
brawl,
no sense.
Yeah, well, exactly. But what bothered me about the end of Britt versus Big Swole was you had built this feud for how goddamn long? You had built this for Lord knows how long. I don't understand why, after weeks of build-up on television, you took pay-per-view time out of other pay-per-views to give these two the chance to yell at each other. Britt Baker was given segments in wheelchairs. She was running this fake nose injury for months and months and all throughout the pandemic era. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, it ends with Big Swole putting her to sleep. Not with a wrestling maneuver, not with a swift kick to the face, and possibly re-injuring the nose so we can make that part of the story again. It ends with anesthesia. It ends with basically... Okay, here's the deal. You know how we always say this is a tongue-in-cheek laughing, bad stand-up routine? It was laughing gas, basically.
Well, yeah, and...
She pinned her with laughing gas.
And it's nothing funny about that. It's just completely stupid.
I explained this to Allison.
It's stupid.
Okay, this is in my notes. I explained this to Allison. Allison said, get out of the room. She kicked me out of the bedroom when I came in to explain this match. She literally said, get the hell out. And I'm like, you know what? I don't blame you. Okay, so to preface this next match by saying this is where I'm going to get slightly complimentary, and it's going to be weird because it's for the gentlemen that I continually rip a new one on this show.
The Pretty Boys?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So anyway,
I'm so proud of you now, Zach.
Yes. We want them on the show, and I'm trying to
smooth them so they get to us.
I'm trying to create an shall I say, an all-inclusive environment.
There you
for
go.
them.
Well, we have a connection through somebody. To maybe get that.
Anyway, so anyway, Bucks versus the Jurassic Express. First of all, the Pro Wrestling Illustrated Top 500 is a joke. You gave Marco Stunt a top 200 rating. The fact is I don't care how many GCW matches he won. I don't care how much press coverage he's gotten on AEW television. Let me explain what Marco Stunt's press on AEW television has been. He got thrown around by Lance Archer, who apparently Lance Archer can't beat a freaking midget in less than a minute. He's been a mascot for the Jurassic Express. He is jumping around, looked like a small child who's been let into a football locker room with his favorite player. Marco Stunt, I cannot take Marco Stunt seriously under any circumstances. Why he's on the PWI Top 500 is an embarrassment to the wrestling business, and this guy needs to literally just be gone. If you are going to force me to watch this guy, then he needs to become a tag team with Joey Janela, and they both need to get their asses kicked every single week on this show. That is the only way that I can justify paying them to be a part of this freak show circus.
I'll send him against FTR, and FTR squashes him.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, Jungle Boy looks like a star. Jungle Boy is getting physically better every week. He is an amazing in-ring competitor. He has his father's acting gene. It's there. Oh, you can tell.
Yeah, I've
that did not skip a generation there.
That's great. That's great.
He sells beautifully. He looks like a babyface. That's the thing that people are missing. He looks like a sympathetic babyface that you're going to beat the crap out of him. He's going to make a comeback. He's going to get a hot tag. Not that this company has any idea how to do a hot tag, but we'll deal with that later. The Bucks, I'm sorry. Okay, so here's the deal. This is one opinion that I started my... Okay, I write these notes as the match happens, right? Things change as the match goes on.
In the heat of passion,
yeah, exactly.
You write stuff out, yes.
Okay, at the beginning of this match, the Bucks are clearly the heels. They are working as frustrated heels because of the situation involving the Elite, kicking out Adam Page, all the issues they've had recently. Once again, the carrot that I wanted was Sasha and Bayley, and I got it. And you know what? They did it, I think, at the right time. Oh, this carrot of Hangman Adam Page leaving Kenny Omega, we all predicted it night one. I didn't expect them to actually give them the tag team titles, and when I did, I'm like, okay, whatever. But then I didn't expect them to hold them for over 200 days. The tag team titles of this company were held hostage for 2/3 of a year by a tag team that we all knew were about to break up.
Yeah, and didn't they get the tag titles right after they started doing the show?
Pretty much.
Yeah, so almost the whole entire existence of AEW so far in their first year.
The majority of it,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
anyway. So in the beginning, I did not take the Bucks seriously as heels because I just, for how much these guys have smiled at the camera, winked at the camera, now you want me to all of a sudden think that you're going through some frustration. You haven't allowed me to take you seriously up until now. I don't know why. Luchasaurus is not better than Damian Priest is basically what I have here. I have Damian Priest. Yeah. My notes literally say Damian Priest equals greater than Luchasaurus because Luchasaurus, his kicks are garbage. I throw better kicks even though I have a black belt, so I should throw better kicks, but it's like,
oh yeah, you should.
Yeah, exactly. I throw better kicks than him. My biggest problem is that Damian Priest is presented as a large athlete who is a big hitter, has a power game, but we all know he can do a moonsault. We all know he can fly, but Damian Priest only does it a few times a match. He was around with Finn Balor, and he barely flew around because he knows that that's what Finn does, so Finn's going to do that, and I'm going to pull back. Luchasaurus, look, I get it. You can do a top rope moonsault, or flying dive at your 6'7", 6'8" frame. That's great. That's cool. Do you have to do it 3 times in the same match?
No.
Do you have to?
No. Well, we've said this many times.
He's not a luchador, okay? Can we stop with this crap? I don't care how much he's been trained in Lucha Libre.
They're coached better in NXT, and they don't have that same guidance, or they don't want to listen to an AEW. Jungle Boy
would be amazing if he could actually turn around and be trained by people who know what the hell they're doing. People who actually have knowledge of the sport.
I think the fun part was, I'm going a little off here, but when Jericho was talking, they're talking about after his feud with Orange Boy, who he's going to go next. Well, a few things that he did, and he did drop Jungle Boy. And if they could do that and have singles with him and Jericho and Jungle Boy, that could be good that would be definitely good for Jungle Boy, because he learned a lot.
Jericho can play any role he wants. He still can. There's not an issue there. Jericho is in a scenario where I don't necessarily think that he's as physically gifted as he once was, but he is certainly able to talk his way through a feud. He's able to build somebody, and Jungle Boy would completely benefit from this.
Oh, yes.
More notes. Jim Ross.
Don't have anything.
Jim Ross is drunk. That's basically what I put. I don't. Jim Ross.
I love the comment.
Jim Ross was the quote unquote mimosa tester before the Orange Cassidy.
Or his Bars Palsy is really acting up on him or something.
No.
Just drunk.
No. I'm not gonna make that joke or anything like that. That's not my point here.
Okay. All right.
But no. JR can't stand Marco Stunt. You can tell in his voice. He can't stand Marco Stunt. He doesn't understand why Marco Stunt is out there. I don't understand why, if Marco Stunt is supposed to be the mascot / management for the babyface tag team, why is he constantly being a distraction to the referee? Why is he constantly being the manager for the good guys should not be distracting the referee, okay? That's not how you build a match. Also, the referee was completely useless. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. He didn't know where the hell he was going. None of it made any sense. I don't understand. Ladies and gentlemen, somebody please explain to me why referees are needed in All Elite Wrestling, because he's not counting, he's not... It was so god-awful of a referee job. He's buried. I'm pretty sure we've discovered what? Rick Fox, I think it is who it is, the referee? I think that's the name. Rick Fox or Rick
I believe
Knox.
so.
Yeah,
something like that, yeah.
Awful. Truly awful. I don't get it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you can explain to me why this guy keeps getting the tag division, I don't know. Does he owe the Bucks a favor? Because he's useless. He's useless as a referee.
He might. Maybe we need some good-looking chicks in bikinis walking around, because that would be about the same.
I don't know.
That'd be more entertaining for me.
Okay, now is where I actually get to a little bit of compliments. The Bucks did something I didn't think they were capable of. They slowed this down. They slowed it down. They actually acted like snarky mid-card level heels who, when they turn to you and they wink at the crowd, it's because they're the bad guys, not because they're supposed to be the good guys and saying, heh, this is all fake. They actually slowed down. It was in the context of a wrestling match. I myself could actually understand which tag team was supposed to come off sympathetic. I understood that they told me a story. I could actually feel...
It's a miracle.
Yeah, it's... Blind squirrel eventually finds a nut.
It definitely does.
The Bucks turned around. They did a great job of showing that there's some frustration going on in the Elite. It's obvious that the issues with Adam Page are getting to them. All of this is making sense, and it's. I don't. I think this was. This was in the middle of this match. There was a weird shot to the ring post cam, where one of the Bucks jumped in with an elbow, and it was a terrible elbow. It was a completely missed elbow. But for some strange reason, someone in the truck said, "Let's go to that camera view," and I'm like, okay, whatever. It was awful. I don't understand why you would go to that shot. It made no sense. Stay with the hard cam. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. It didn't make any sense to me why they went to that shot. But here's the deal. the Bucks proved to me that maybe they can actually sell me on this whole issue with Adam Page. Maybe they can actually get there. They can make sense of this. It was actually a decent tag match. Matt Jackson at one point was literally slapping at somebody. I don't understand. I don't know if he was going for a punch. Look. I watched the match right before I came and did the show, but obviously, we got into different topics. So because here's the deal: AEW continues to be unable to remove their own pay-per-view from YouTube the next morning. So I basically got to watch it for free. Didn't have to pay the $50 for this abortion. So anyway, if you take out Marco Stunt, this is not just a decent match; it's a good match. I will actually give them good.
So you,
if Marco Stunt was not involved, because Marco Stunt just became a sniveling little weasel of a human being that I didn't need, I didn't want. He added nothing to the match.
So you give it like what 3.5, 4 stars out of 5 for them, or not that high?
No. Okay, the Bucks are fine doing something. There was a bad double team spot by the Jurassic Express. You can tell they're still green. There was no reason for them to be doing it. Look, out of 5, I would give this a 3. But it's like, here's the deal.
That ain't bad for him, then.
Well, this is like, when you watch Hell's Kitchen and Gordon Ramsay's like, I'm gonna rate your dishes on a scale of 1 to 5. If you get a 3, that's not a bad dish. There were just certain things that didn't elevate it to a 5. I always say 3 is a fancy restaurant here in the Duluth Superior area. A 5 is the type of restaurant he's running where every plate has to be worth $500.
Yeah.
Because if it's not, then you're going to lose money, and reputation is everything in the food business. But anyway.
Oh, yeah.
No, I give it a 3. Nothing wrong with it. Your thoughts to me actually complimenting them. Do you think I was lying when I said they could do something right? Because everything you've seen of them was just awful. You watched this, right?
Yeah, I caught some of it. I have to rewatch some of it. But no, everybody's, it's horrible. What it proves that, and they prove that, okay, we can wrestle. Maybe they're hearing some negatives around that. Maybe that's why they did
Well, again, it goes back to the thing that I said earlier. On a pay-per-view that their own fans are calling one of the weakest, they actually do a decent match. They actually storytell.
Yeah, maybe it's with FTR being in there.
Once again, Spot Monkey Wrestling fans, you're exposing yourselves as not smart wrestling fans. That's what you're exposing yourself as.
Yeah, their tag division has improved after a little while with FTR in there. I see that.
Well, because FTR is finally taking teams like the Lucha Brothers, the Jurassic Express. They're taking these teams, they're slowing them down, and they're allowing stories to be told.
Yeah.
If you want to go 100 miles an hour, you're going to keep my attention for about 5 minutes.
And there's a time and a place for that, too.
Yeah.
But right now, no. If you want to make it better, that's what they need to do. They need to do what FDR is doing and to make it better.
They have arguably the real greatest tag team in wrestling in your tag team division.
Yes.
Let them run the matches. You can book all you want. I don't care if the Young Bucks want to book this. But you guys need to let them decide let them call the matches in the ring.
Yeah.
Book them however you want. I don't care. But let them call the in-ring. Bell to bell, let FTR call the match. That's all I'm saying.
I totally agree.
We move on to the Casino Battle Royal. Now, I would like to bring everyone back to the original All In, where this was the very first match that we saw in the history of AEW. It was a disgrace.
Oh, God, it sucked.
And I, to this day, still have not been able to watch it in full sense, unless there's actually a version on YouTube where it's the match being shown, but the commentary is actually Jim Cornette's review of it, and
oh my God, I have to find that.
Well, what's sad is that it actually proves that Jim was right, because everything Jim says is shown on.
That match was horrible back then.
Okay, but here's the deal. I originally loved the concept of everybody draws a card, they come out 5 at a time. There's a Joker card, that's great, cool. My first note, they announce the 5 people in the clubs. This is already better than the first one. It's already better than the first one because here's the deal. And by the way, to all of you out there who are like, oh, indie wrestling, needs these guys to be on television. Nobody from the first one, for the most part, is in this match right now. And I don't care if that's travel restrictions. I don't care if that's anything other than I think they're finally trying to be a little more serious. So they took a lot of the guys that were in the gimmicky all-in one, and they said, you're not in this one.
Yeah, I didn't buy it. Yeah.
It was already better than the first one.
I'm looking at, I'm like...
They introduced the club group, and the club group wasn't bad, because you want to know why? They sat there, and I forget the time interval. I think it's like 2.5 minutes they did this. Like 2 minutes 40.
I think something like that, yeah.
It's like 2 to 3 minutes. All I know is that the club group was not bad. There wasn't a lot of crazy, stupid antics. There wasn't Michael Nakazawa putting baby oil on him. The dude painted with a yellow face, the legless dude.
Well, they had...
None of that was in there.
In the clubs, it was Trent, Christopher Daniels, Jack Hager, The Blade, and Ray Phoenix.
All guys who I can take seriously.
Solid, yes, definitely.
It's
a
solid
guys.
Opening group.
Yeah.
Now here's the deal. The opening group needs to kind of keep the attention of the audience. They were faster than normal. They were good. They were first of all, Jake Hager's entrance is awful. Jake Hager is an All-American, 2-time All-American in both football and wrestling from the University of Oklahoma, as JR has said multiple times on WWE television.
We know this.
He is a big badass power guy who is a professional fighter. I don't have any problem with people wanting rap to be their opening theme, but this is a bad rap song for him. It doesn't make any sense. It's dull. I hate it. Jake Hager's entrance is embarrassing. Taz is now on commentary. He's the only serious commentator. He's trying to actually call a match. Shocking that you would try to call a match in AEW.
Well, yeah, you got to do
other
that.
Other than just jerk yourselves off. The clubs weren't bad. The Diamond Group comes out. You want to read off the Diamonds for me?
Yeah, we have Frankie Kazarian, Will Hobbs, Chuck Taylor, Santana, and Ortiz.
Okay, first of all, I don't understand why you are wasting these surprise draws by putting tag teams. They did this twice.
Yeah.
Don't put tag teams
in the same group.
Split Santana or Ortiz into the... If they come out in the next two groups, I'm fine, but don't... Anyway, Will Hobbs looks like a star. I want more Will Hobbs. He looks great. He looked in shape. He's a big dude that can move. I want to see more of him.
Hopefully, if we do, that they use him correctly. I hope they do.
Will Hobbs looks like a star. And I hope to God I get to see more of him. Okay, so now we get to the Hearts. Before Leroy reads off the Hart group, may I say congratulations to Billy Gunn for his annual 1 year appearance for AEW being in the Casino Battle Royal. Because here's the deal. In the last one, I'm pretty sure Billy was only in there to make sure that nobody went into business for themselves, which they all did, so it sucked.
Yep.
This one, Billy's just in it. We all knew he wasn't going to win, but Billy's in it. Go on.
Yeah, okay. So, Billy was in there.
Yep.
Penta 0M or... Pentagon Jr.
He's not Pentagon Jr. because I believe AAA has taken the name.
They have taken
again.
So he has changed his name. Yep. They changed it. Ricky Starks, Brian Cage, and Darby Allin.
Okay. So you've got Ricky Starks and Brian Cage, who we know are basically not a tag team but a faction.
Yep.
Why are they in the same group? And furthermore, if they're in the same group, why didn't they hit the ring with some fire and throw out 3-4 nobodies right away? Get some team eliminations for these guys. If you're going to have a tag team show up at the same time, then they need to hit the ring with some fire and they need to make some quick eliminations. My biggest problem with this whole thing was they turned around and they once again waited until everybody was in the ring so that everyone could do their stupid indie bullshit and then they were going to have eliminations. You know what? You know what? You already have 3 of the 4 groups in here, minus the Joker card, withstanding. Why has no one been eliminated at this point? And if they were, I didn't notice because nobody was paying attention to the eliminations. God damn it! Fuck the hug. I literally have it written. Excalibur was actually calm. Laid back. He was secluded the whole time. He was actually trying to be a somewhat serious commentator. But then the best friends have to do the hug spot, and he does his fake up cadence where he's so happy. He's like, gotta give the people what they want. And I'm like, dude, nobody wants this shit. I'm paying $50. I don't want to see two grown men hugging. Unless it's Daniel Bryan and Kane, because that was... Miz and Michael Cole sold that hug segment.
Oh my god.
That was one of the greatest segments ever because it was so...
Two women hugging in the ring, that's okay. Two guys, no.
Well, it's just, at this point...
Yeah, it's old. It's useless.
Point, this hug has cost them time. You could argue it's literally cost them a shot at the AEW tag team titles.
Yep.
But anyway... Excalibur, stop getting so fake up for a hug. This was the most up you were this entire match. And it was over a hug. It
should be over an elimination or something exciting like that, yeah.
Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, to the hearts. We did the hearts. Okay, so the clubs, the diamonds, and the hearts are all in there. We got the
spades.
So we are on to the spades. Go ahead.
Shawn Spears.
Okay.
Eddie Kingston.
Okay.
The Butcher. Sonny Kiss, and Lance Archer.
Here's the deal. Shawn Spears is still with Tully. Once again, Tully was with the FTR.
Yep.
But he still has Shawn Spears. Tully is on this show way too much. I don't know. I have a question mark because I forgot Tully was with Shawn Spears because for weeks Tully was scouting FTR and Shawn Spears wasn't on TV. Now all of a sudden FTR's in the picture with Tully, and now we put Shawn Spears back on TV. What are we doing, people?
They're grasping at straws or something.
I loved as much as I've given some hate towards. I loved that Sonny Kiss eliminated Jake Hager because it was an obvious, big time, big bodied heel getting tossed out by essentially a mid card nobody, a lower tier card person. No offense to Sonny Kiss, extremely talented, but here's the deal. You're not a main event person right now. And Jack Hager, in my opinion, has been presented in the past as a main event person. You are lower on the card. Okay, quick question. If you're booking a card, you've got Sonny Kiss and Jack Hager. They're not facing each other. Who's getting booked higher every time?
Oh, it's going to be Jack.
Because he's been presented as a world champion. Nothing against Sonny Kiss, but you are not presented in a way that I am putting you above Jack Hager. So in my opinion, I loved it. Do we want to talk about the Joker card? There's a picture on our Facebook page, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. You should all go see it. It's a wonderful rendition of the remembrance of the Shockmaster's debut and Matt Seidel's debut in AEW. But anyway, the Joker card, Leroy, would you please?
Matt Seidel.
Matt Seidel has now been turned all elite. Matt Seidel hit the ring with some fire. Shawn Spears sold it great. And it was immediately ruined by Shawn Spears almost killing himself. No, sorry, not Shawn Spears. And then it was ruined by Matt Seidel damn near killing himself and breaking his own damn neck by not even missing a shooting star press, but flat out falling on the ropes, screwing himself. And you know what? There are people on the internet that are giving him praise for saving himself. It's a botch. I'm glad his neck is not broken because I like Matt Seidel.
He saved himself from killing himself.
Yeah, but it's still a botch. You give no praise to a botch. None.
You laugh and say
Cero miedo.
Laugh and say, well, he's not hurt. He kept going.
It's just whatever. But
he actually came up and actually eliminated somebody.
Also, what's really sad to me is the first ever Joker was Hangman Adam Page. He won the thing. Okay?
Yeah.
We kind of all saw that coming after the stuff that preceded that preceded the Casino Battle Royal. But here's the deal.
Why did they have him? They should have had winner.
No.
Maybe.
No. In my opinion, the Joker, which is a great concept, it's a great idea. It needs to be someone a little bit more, a little bit more with a little more build, a little more fire.
Yeah.
No offense to Matt Seidel, but no one knew you were coming, and you haven't really been the same since you were Evan Bourne. That's a fact. I mean, you've been hanging around the Indies. A lot of people like him. I love Matt Seidel. I think he's great, but there's just a lot of issues there with his build on the Indies. The Joker was good though until the botch. I thought Matt Sydal would, like I said, he hit with fire. He was hot. He got into it with Spears, and then the botch, which was less than 2 minutes later. Lance Archer not only finally wins, he finally looks good. He looks like a murder hawk. The problem one of the worst things they've done in AEW, literally one of the most egregious things you've done, is you've taken the murder hawk, Lance Archer, and he came off a hot performance in the G1 2 years ago. And he was hot on the indies. He was a big name, this and that. You got him to All Elite, and then you just made fun of him. He's been a joke since he got there because you give him the evil Jake Snake Roberts as his manager, and he's worked with underwhelming talent, and everyone's like, well, they're squashes. No.
There wasn't a squash.
The definition of a squash match is it's over in about 2 or 3 moves. Lance Archer couldn't beat Marco Stunt in a minute, which in real life, Lance Archer would eat Marco Stunt, so that was a joke.
Yeah.
Lance Archer had a somewhat competitive match with Joey Janela that I've already talked about was a disgrace and a bunch of bull. This is the best Lance Archer has looked, and yet Lance Archer's still flat. He's flat in AEW. He is holding himself up because of his run in Japan, and Jake is helping, but he's flat. Also, why the hell was in the audience for the heavyweight title match? I did not need Lance Archer to be in the audience during the world title match at the end of the show. That was unnecessary. If you want there to be a stare down between Archer and the winner of the match, have Archer come out from the entrance ramp.
At the end of that. Yeah,
yes,
that would be way better.
Not sitting in the crowd.
Yeah.
Anyway, now we get to... Now we get to the match that there is no excuse for. It was an embarrassment to this company. They should be fined by the Athletic Commission. They need to be held accountable for what they did. Before we get to why, I'm just going to say, apparently Matt Hardy, this is Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara for those not following. Matt Hardy, apparently about a month ago, said, I am now no longer going to be using my gimmicks. I'm going to be Matthew Hardy. Which is great. I love Matt Hardy.
No, I do too.
I love Matt Hardy, but he's not going to be broken. He's not going to be V1. He's going to be Matt Hardy. And yet, broken Matt Hardy is all of a sudden back. Now, yes, there's some weird buildup with Sammy. Stuff's been happening. Matt could have had a psychotic break, yada, yada. But you didn't sell me on broken Matt Hardy coming back very well. I wasn't impressed with the build back there. But all of a sudden, this match begins with him looking for Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara pulls up in a golf cart, because obviously that's what they did during the stadium fuckery match that nobody to this day can convince me was worth my time. It's still the worst match I've seen in 28 years of wrestling. Why would you continue this match after the fall? And to their credit, they stopped it. The problem is, and this is where Vince comes out on top, you turned around and you give Vince crap for the stuff he does. But Vince would have ended this. Yeah. This is where Vince saves the wrestlers from themselves. Matt Hardy was not knocked unconscious in the middle of a match the commentator goes, he's out cold. No, Matt Hardy was dead on his feet. Oh yeah. Matt Hardy had no consciousness to reality.
And I watched
He was out.
I don't know how many times I watched that. It was like, oh my God.
He fell.
And they kept going.
It should have been all right, Sammy Guevara, if this was the spot he was told to do, I can't blame Sammy, but they should have just let the side effect happen because it would have gone straight through the table. It wouldn't have gone awkwardly 45-degree angle-ish to the table. So why continue after the fall? 2.5 in before the fall. By the way, the fall only took place 2.5 minutes in. Yeah. This match was 2.5 minutes in, and the fall happened.
They could have stopped it. I mean,
Monday night... Supposedly they did.
They could have ended it totally there.
But that was the problem. They let Matt Hardy tell them he was okay. Vince steps in and tells the wrestlers, this is what you do and don't do. I'm not. Here's the deal. I'm not saying Vince in the heat of the moment is 100% going to make the decision of stop the match even though we're live on pay-per-view. But regardless of what you think Vince would have done, you should have stopped it.
Well, he had an example on Monday when the Viking Raiders, where he did a dive and you see him and
he threw up
the wrestler throws up the X. Yeah. They end the match as soon as possible.
Well, it was more of a brawl, but
yeah. It was 6 minutes, but they ended the match.
Yeah.
But there was a little miscommunication. The ref knew, and boom, they got the pin, and Ricochet looked like he kicked, but they did count to 3 because they want to end it. That was a way that's the correct way to do it. If somebody is injured, is don't.
And
it wouldn't have hurt anything if they would have done it.
And because of the bad pin, you have an out to add layers to your story.
Yes.
It helps your story. It saves a wrestler from himself. Somebody needs to teach a guy like Sammy, don't keep going after Matt. When that many people show up to break it up, stop.
Well, I think
if Sammy Guevara wants to keep going, do an old school heel thing and stand there and talk shit. But don't physically go after Matt Hardy.
I think it also falls on to the referees and anybody, the medical there.
Sammy's also not a big dude. Half the referees were bigger than Sammy.
I know, but it falls on everybody else behind the scenes that was something that happened. It should have ended. They could do a story from it from that and be done.
Okay. I want to point something out. I am not about to compare this situation to a different situation. But for those of you who are like, they didn't cut the feed. They didn't cut the feed for Owen Hart's situation either. It's not the same. I'm not saying this is the same tragedy. No. Anyone out there who wants to at me or comment, I am making this clear. That is a tragedy. That is something that is absolutely horrible. I didn't agree with continuing after what happened to Owen. I don't agree with continuing after what happened to here. But the thing about it is that, you know what? They both kept going after moments they should have. Regardless of how bad the situations are, they both kept going.
Oh, yeah.
WWE kept going. AEW kept going. So, enough of that.
Yeah.
One's a death, one's a concussion. I know there's a difference. But they both kept going. They shouldn't have. That is my opinion. I'm bringing up 2 different incidences that I think that you should have just stopped, ended, go home.
Yep. And it wouldn't have hurt either. It wouldn't have hurt either competitor. It would not have hurt the pay-per-view either.
Well, but here's the deal. You didn't need to cancel All Out. You should have stopped
the match. That match alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also with Owen's situation, you should have just stopped the pay-per-view.
Yeah. They definitely should have.
It should have been done and over with. But whatever. It is what it is.
Yep.
The reason why I'm saying whatever is not because I don't have sympathy for Owen Hart's family. It's because it's already written history. I can't change it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Here, cut the feed. Go to a commercial. Find a promo somewhere. But end it. Then they kept going.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. I wrote, make an adjustment. They did. They stopped the match. But then they didn't. Then they kept going. They let this keep... Matt Hardy should have never kept going.
It was a 9-minute match.
I know. It should have ended after 2.5.
And I don't know if in this 9-minute, if they added in the time they took away from when they stopped. I don't know.
Can I just point out?
Oh, yeah.
You continued this match just to do a bad Shane McMahon parody spot.
Yeah.
That's what this led to. Matt Hardy's health is literally hanging in the balance. He should be on his way to a medical facility to get his brain checked out. And you guys continue just to have a bad Shane McMahon spot that is like 1/5 the height that Shane McMahon fell from? Are you kidding me? Also, by the way, we all know that Shane fell on something that was reinforced. We couldn't tell from the camera angle. I could tell Sammy fell into something that was reinforced from this camera angle, you dumb shits.
Yeah, they gotta work on that.
Anyway, no, this right here is a strike against AEW that is one that you can't argue with me on. You can argue creative with me. You can argue booking with me. You can argue the match layouts with me. This is a strike in my book against AEW. Somebody needed to make the call and stop it.
And they dropped the ball. Yeah, and there's a lot.
Worst case scenario, while the camera is panned on Matt, have one of the people stopping Sammy say, go pin him. The camera's not on you. You quietly say to Sammy in the moment,
done.
Go pin him. It's over. It's done. The match will be it'll be a bad botch. It'll be oh my god, this is one of the worst pay-per-view matches they've had because it was 2 minutes, yada yada. I don't care. Matt Hardy should not have continued after falling.
Yes.
And by the way, to every reporter that's been reporting on Matt Hardy's health since, and Rebby keeps saying that we haven't talked to you, stop reporting. I only want to hear from Matt. That's the only person I want to hear from.
Yeah. Well, either Matt or his wife, if
and
he
Matt
can't.
addressed it. Matt addressed it on Dynamite. We're not going to go into that because we're on the pay-per-view. But anyway. But no. Okay, so there's that. We move on to a match that I didn't hate. I didn't love.
Yeah, it was...
Hikaru Shida...
It was all right.
...versus Rosa. Rosa is the NWA Women's Champion. First of all, WWE gets the belts right. Both of the belts in AEW for... Both women's belts in this match can go, and here's why. They're like, look. Okay, I understand certain companies' wrestling belts weren't always huge. They were, somewhat skinny and tiny. These belts are a joke. They look like toy belts. They don't look real, and that's not an insult to the performers. The finish was old TNA booking. There was no build-up. There was no finisher. It just kind of happened. The crowd wasn't ready for it. You didn't hit the pop. It happened in the middle of the match. Every single one of these matches, except for Hardy and Sammy, felt like they just drag on forever.
Yeah, what?
This pay-per-view just felt like it drug on.
17 minutes for the ladies match, which is a little bit longer than normally goes. Yes,
Hikaru Shida, you can tell she understands the wrestling side of things, but she is not Asuka. She is not Io Shirai. She doesn't have any charisma compared to those two. She missed the class in Japan about how to get charisma as a female competitor. I don't know. It was too early for this. I don't know why. I understand that right now the pandemic is screwing up everyone's schedule. I don't know why you immediately jumped into a match, champion versus champion, cross-promotion versus cross-promotion. It was too early for it. Shouldn't have happened. You should have built up to the next pay-per-view. Ignore all that.
Yeah, that definitely would have worked better. But
yeah, it's just anyway. There was a cheap WWE shot, which was the whole Kip Sabian interview, which we'll get to here in a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a cheap WWE shot. Stick to your own bullshit. I don't know. The next match was the Dark Order versus, and I wrote this plain as day, Nightmare or something. I don't know anymore. Is it the Nightmare Collective? Is it the Nightmare Family? I don't know.
I don't know. It's because the only one that is tagged with Nightmare is Dustin. The natural Nightmare Dustin Rhodes with the two other guys.
Brody Lee is showing me why when he was in WWE no one gave him a microphone. He has no charisma. He's a vacuum for it. I'm not quoting Jim Cornette. That's how I feel. Because here's the deal. When he talks, I get low.
We don't want to listen.
I don't. He is the opposite of Jake Roberts because Jake Roberts spoke very softly, but boy did you listen.
Oh God, yeah. That was the way.
Brody Lee tries to talk quietly. He tries to come across as cerebral, but he doesn't have it. No. Jake Roberts had it. He needs to go to Jake Roberts and figure out how to do this. Also, I want to point out the Dark Order. It was... This match should not have been on pay-per-view. This match could have been on Dynamite. It was so unnecessarily needed. It didn't make any sense. You have Brody Lee tagging with Colt Cabana, and then a bunch of dudes from Dark Order that are interchangeable every day of the week. Made no sense. Also, by the way, you can't use Alex Reynolds and Silver, who are the guys who defected the Dark Order in that first encounter, yada yada. You can't use them because they already lost the match on the pre-show. So, again, I don't care about these Dark Order guys. I don't know why they're there. What are we doing? It was an 8-man tag that didn't need to be an 8-man tag. Should have been on Dynamite because it didn't need to be. Brandy was awful.
Yeah.
During the entrance. Okay, here's the deal. Brandy is coming out like she's trying to pump up the crowd. Your husband got squashed in 4 minutes, lost the TNT title, is reportedly gone for months from television, which we now know is to host a talent show on TBS.
Oh my God. I didn't hear that.
He's one of the judges on a new talent show on TBS coming up. I don't know. It's so you know, oh, we're gonna go back to old school booking. Cody can't even keep his shit serious and be like, I'm gonna go away for a couple of months. No, literally only 2 weeks after this damn pay-per-view, I'm seeing commercials for a new show, and it's gonna be Cody Rhodes as one of the hosts. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't know why it's there. But Brandy.
Well, my only thing about this statement, the way they ended it, they could have done it where the Dark Order won instead of lost. If they want to continue this story with the nightmares, whatever.
Thank you.
They could have done that. I thought it would have been a lot better.
This isn't even in my notes, but you are 100% right with what you just brought up. The fact of the matter is we are not even 2 weeks removed from Brody Lee literally squashing Cody Rhodes. Literally, ladies and gentlemen, in less than 4 minutes. In less than 4 minutes, Cody Rhodes was squashed by Brody Lee. It made Brody Lee look strong, although it was still a weak effort because Cody had been so dominant for so long, and now all of a sudden made no sense. But anyway, here's the deal.
It would have been way better of a story. I mean,
the Dark Order went from we're on top, we just became the TNT champion, our Exalted One has a belt, to we lost,
and he goes after somebody
in the Dark Order.
It's like, what? Yeah, it made no sense when I saw that the way it ended. I was like, what?
Awful. I don't know why the Dark Order goes from the pinnacle top to the bottom basement in the same freaking 2 week period. Don't get that. I don't know why we did this.
And like maybe they'll throw them up on top again on the next time when they do it.
Well, and like I said, Brandy comes out. She's trying to promote herself. She's supportive of the family. You need to look like the wife who doesn't know where your husband is. You need to look concerned. That is how you're supposed to be doing this. You can't argue with me. Or
don't have her on.
Exactly. You can't argue with me that Brandy was correct here. No. That's not how you book wrestling. I don't care if I've never booked a wrestling show. It's not how you book wrestling. If she comes out and acts like her husband didn't just get his ass whooped the week before.
Yeah.
Anyway, Scorpio Sky has different music, I noticed, than the guys from SCU, because like up until this point he'd been coming out to the theme music of SCU. Scorpio Sky had.
Yeah.
Matt Cardona doesn't work here, yet he gets a record in AEW, and he gets his own music. And yes, I understand this is the wrestling business. Yes, I understand that stuff like this goes by the wayside all the time. But here's the thing. In the video package, Matt Cardona literally said himself, I don't work here. So why do you have an official AEW record? Why are your wins and losses being shown if you don't work here? I don't get it.
Because eventually he is going to work there, probably.
Well, duh. Yeah. This match was too slow. It took forever. Even Scorpio Sky looked like lethargic. It was almost like no one gave a shit in this match.
Yeah, it didn't seem. It was a 15-minute match.
Yeah, Dark Order needed. Look,
they needed the win.
The last thing I'm going to say is Dark Order should have gone over. They should have won. I've already explained why. I'm not going to sit here and go.
Well, we'll talk about a better tag team match.
Next up was the AEW Tag Title match. We alluded to it early. First of all, the video package. Why are the Young Bucks in the video package? Because here's the deal. Yes, I know that they just kicked them out of the Elite. Yes, I know they're part of the Elite. Yes, I know that they're as much involved in this as everyone else. But they ended up talking about themselves, and it ended up being about them. They shouldn't have been in the video package. It was horrible. Okay, you saw this, obviously.
Yes.
When FTR hit the ring, did they not look like a together tag team?
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
When they come out, did you not think old Minnesota Wrecking Crew?
Oh, God,
Did you not think, Arn and Tully? Did you not think about the great tag teams of yesteryear when they walked out?
Oh, yeah. They totally show that. Their feeling, their moves, everything goes back to the way
I'm just talking about the entrance.
They should be. Yeah, I mean the way they did
their entrance makes me think they're a tag team.
Yeah, and they
it's not
do
just
a very
two
good
wrestlers
job.
coming together. They are a tag team in the realest sense of the word.
Yeah, and I'm glad they didn't accidentally he tripped the one time, which was kind of funny.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
They came out strong and good. I mean, I love it.
Hangman Adam Page comes out to a different song than Kenny because obviously they're not the same. They're not a team.
Yeah.
Hangman is getting there. Hangman is getting close to being a singles serious competitor. He looks good in the ring. He wrestles well. He has an attitude about him. I like him. FTR led this match. You could tell due to how to the pace. But ladies and gentlemen, this was 35 minutes. Way too long. This was 35 minutes.
Really. They say 29 on here, but there must have been.
Oh, Cash Wheeler confirmed on his Twitter account it was 29 minutes.
Yeah.
He said or 35 minutes. Kenny's meltdown was overdone. It was too much. I get that you're frustrated, but why did we follow you into the parking lot? Why did you get in a car? Why did you tell the Bucks it's me or him? It's just Kenny Omega came off more as a scattered brain little brat than he came off as a serious, pissed off professional wrestler.
Yeah, instead of them doing that, they could have done an in-between thing between one of the next two matches.
Kenny could have
showing that too.
Well, yeah, exactly. Why did we follow this all the way to the parking lot in the same sequence? Worst case scenario, just have Kenny walk out and then have this happen on Dynamite.
Yeah,
you guys
do that too. Yeah,
you guys are so into giving me everything I want right then and there that you forget that you have a 2-hour show. That apparently Tony Khan's got another one in the works.
That's what I'm hearing.
Anyway, but no, it was overdone. Too much. That's all I have to say. I'm
glad the belts came to a good take.
100%.
It was definitely needed. Yes.
We move on to the rubber match between Jericho and Orange Cassidy. Jericho comes out as the demo god. And all I wrote was, God, let it end.
And it did, thank God.
No. I wrote that during the entrance.
Okay. Okay.
This wasn't...
I thought you were referring to the whole matches with him, I thought. No, just in general? Okay.
Jericho, why does he need so many nicknames? He's not the champion. We don't need Le Champion right now. Hold that until you get back in the title picture.
Yeah.
Jericho, though, is still over. He's over with that crowd. He's over with basic people. Look, this is another compliment that I will give. As much as I have hated Chris Jericho's run since he left Cody, Chris Jericho's over. Chris Jericho's going to be over until the end of time, and there's nothing I'm going to be able to do about it. Not that I want him not to be over, but as much as I will dislike his current work, Chris Jericho's over. You got to give Chris Jericho some love. He's over as over can be.
Yeah, and... as he was talking about and the live after show that I wanted to listen to because it's Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
I've been watching him since WCW. Mm-hmm. I enjoy him, and it was kind of neat to say, hey, what is he going to say behind the scenes and everything? He said he enjoyed his work with Orange Cassidy, and he's hoping, and I do hope that he is right on there, that it helped elevate Orange to do something different than what he always does, is having his hands in his pocket.
Okay.
He needs to do better.
I watched this match start to finish. Correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody go back on the tape and call me out if I'm wrong. I didn't see Orange Cassidy put his hands in his pockets once in this match.
No, I don't believe he did. He
actually, from what you remember?
I believe so. I'd have to definitely watch it to make sure, but
there was no fake kicks. There was no weird ass spot that he was going for. He just came out and he wrestled. And that's what I wanted, and that's what made sense. My biggest problem...
That's what he's going to be next, and I really hope so. This is the evolution of him.
So this is my insult compliment sandwich for the show. I insult them because of how the match starts by saying, God, let it end. Then I compliment them, and now I'm going to say this. So AEW's version of a blood feud, because this has been a hot feud from the onset. 14 weeks they've been building this up. That is over 3 months.
Yeah.
It ends with a bath. It ends... And by the way, why did they build 2? Why were there 2 swimming pools filled with mimosa?
I don't know.
Why did you need 2?
But this was Jericho's idea. This was Chris Jericho's idea.
But
I mean, why? Chris is better than this.
I know.
It could have been a lot different. I mean, yeah.
You end your version of a blood feud after 14 weeks of build-up with a bath.
It's like
a bath.
Having them there
in a
as a win.
In a bath of alcoholic orange juice is where a 14-week blood feud ends.
Yeah, you could have got a clean pin in the middle and thrown Jericho into it afterwards.
It didn't need to end the match. Have it there. Hell, you want to know what would have been better booking? Is to have Chris say, I'm going to make you look foolish like you made me look... Because remember, Orange Cassidy already dumped orange juice on Chris Jericho once. So why not have Chris Jericho, screw with Orange Cassidy for a couple of weeks, saying, I'm going to build a giant swimming pool full of orange juice next to the ring, and when I beat you, and have him just be the overconfident heel, and when I beat you, I'm going to make fun of you the way you made fun of me. No, this was the end of a 14-week... blood feud.
Yep. Yeah.
Moving on.
The last match.
Thank God.
Yeah.
The main event. Why is... Okay, so we're looking at the video package and everything of, how this came to be. Obviously, this is Jon Moxley versus MJF. Why is the ring that MJF won from Cody, why is that not referred to more?
I don't know.
It comes up like random. It comes up about as much as the loaded sock does for Santana and Ortiz, which is weird because people fought for this thing to start off the company. Anyway, Jon Moxley, please just come in from the ramp. Stop coming from the top of the stadium. Stop coming in from the top of Daly's place. Stop taking 2.5 minutes to... You're not The Undertaker, okay? Stone Cold's... We all know you're doing a bad Stone Cold impression right now. Stone Cold came out of the entranceway.
Yeah, he didn't have to do anything.
He just walked straight to the ring. The ring announcing was terrible. It was a typical Jon Moxley match. It was rough and tumble, but it wasn't really polished. Mox... with a bunch of really bad knee strikes, just terrible. I mean, it's I don't know. There was too much blood. I don't know. People want to look at me and say, well, we want more blood in wrestling. You already had blood on the show.
Don't need it again.
You don't need 2 matches to have all this. Because remember, every year at WrestleMania when Triple H would be bloodied up and then lose to whether it was Cena or whether it was Batista.
Yeah.
Triple H was the only dude bleeding on that WrestleMania show.
Yeah.
I don't remember blood on any other match. It made sense. There was too much blood in the feud because it was just, again, Mox bleeds, then MJF bleeds like a stuffed pig. It just didn't make any sense. Like every match on this card, it went too long. Every single match felt like it was just drawn out. It was just completely removed. I was bored by the end of every match, except for maybe Hardy and Sammy was different, but that's because I wanted it to be.
That was the second longest match of the night.
Yeah, but anyway, it's just the main event went too long. Wardlow blew it? ? Maybe we can say that's a thing.
Yeah. Huh? Yeah, he was what?
Never mind.
He's in there, but
I have Wardlow blew it ? Is that how MJF's going to take it? So here's the deal. I understand that Mox maybe gave him an out by using the paradigm shifts, which he was contractually told he couldn't use. But what bothers me is a contract stopped this move. So why are we letting him get away with it as if it's nothing? A contract was signed. They made a whole spiel about it.
Oh, yes, they did.
And Moxley, and not to mention the fact, this is what bothers me. I understand a babyface having a devastating finisher. I get that. And maybe trying to break it out to beat the heel that took it away from you. But Jon Moxley's the good guy. Why is he cheating?
Yeah,
that's my question.
I still don't understand.
Why
does that.
He's supposed to be the good guy. Jim Cornette's not wrong when he says that the way wrestling was built is the heel is supposed to be a jerk and the babyface is supposed to speak for the fans. Be the fans, essentially, in the ring. And it just doesn't make any sense. And then, of course, my last note is literally something we already talked about, which was Lance Archer should have come from the ramp and just stared at Moxley instead of being in the crowd. Also, I did not like the fact that after the match was over, after this bloody battle, Jon Moxley literally just sits up from the pin, shrugs his shoulders and go, that happened. It's like he is way too calm for this victory, considering how much this was built up, all the feud that they had, all of the fight that came out of MJF's mouth, and all of the fighting words, and Moxley just shrugs his shoulders. Go back and watch it. Moxley just shrugs the shoulders.
He has a habit of doing that a lot.
Yeah, but it's like, dude,
it's just gotta end it.
Dude, come on, seriously. Can you take this seriously for 5? You're the world champ. 5 minutes, take it seriously.
Yeah, and you were voted #1 wrestler of the year.
I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
So you're okay. So you watched for the first time. That's all my notes. Your thoughts on this pay-per-view? Everybody says it was the worst one they've ever done. To me, it's actually one of their better ones, but the bar is not high in my opinion.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the bar is not high. But yeah, I mean, they had good matches mixed in with bad matches, and all in all, yeah, I thought it was a decent pay-per-view for them so far that they've done. There is room for improvement.
Oh yeah.
There always is, and I got in a heated discussion with people that were boasting, and it was from the e-wrestling. It was actually a wrestling company on Facebook that was boasting that they had 1 million views on a Wednesday night for their Dynamite, and saying that because of that, they're going to beat #1 and beat WWE. Mm-hmm. And my comment was like, there was nobody else wrestling that night, and they haven't done anything. And Vince has been doing this for how long? And he's still #1? And I get ripped on it, and I'm like, well, if you guys want to say you're better than WWE, then go against Monday night instead of the C show on Wednesday.
Well,
they had no competition on Wednesday, and they got that ratings.
We've talked about
this.
I
know.
Right now, the shows go, the A show is SmackDown because of how much they're getting from Fox.
Yes.
Raw is definitely considered the B show because Vince doesn't care that much about it anymore. And NXT is the C show.
Yeah.
You are winning the war against what is essentially developmental talent. People that will eventually go to Raw, eventually go to SmackDown, something that Vince, I guess now has a little more of a vested interest, but has never cared as much as Raw and SmackDown.
No, yeah.
It's just my point is that if this pay-per-view is an indication of where they can go, I'm excited. But you cannot use this pay-per-view as an indicator of ratings on a night where you had no competition. This is the segue we're going into now Leroy wanting to rant about this, but the fact is that, anyway, you said the pay-per-view was a meh,
It was good for AEW. I mean, they said they did a good job. But yeah, I mean...
But going back now to your issue with AEW this week is the fact that you talked to a bunch of people who were like, this million rating is proving why we're going to win. It was 1,000,000-0, and not because NXT ran a show. If NXT had run a show that night and you had 1 million viewers and NXT had like 4, I'd say there's a problem.
Yeah.
But NXT was on the night before.
Yeah, and it was Dynamite. From somebody working for EWN Wrestling News. Yeah. And I've read a lot of things from them, and I've never seen them be positive towards one company more than the other. So I think this was somebody that was doing it. But yeah, it's like they said, from 6+ million viewers, which I'm guessing is from WWE, to 1.7 viewers weekly. Not sure if it's the it anymore. I'm like, really?
Look, okay.
And
okay. And by the way,
I was nice to him when I was saying it too. I wasn't mean.
And by the way, can we also point out one of the biggest things, actually the only thing that has continuously been talked about in the last week since that million show, has been Rusev debuting as his real name, Miro.
Yeah.
And here's the deal. You're gaining views on WWE hate. Once again, this isn't your homegrown bullshit. The only news we care about is the fact that Miro has now shown up. He's now talked crap. He's now thrown some shots at them. You guys didn't build those viewers. Anti-WWE thing did. And by the way, I want to point something out. The WWE has clarified their third-party issue, which is, and I quote, no superstar will have to remove their Twitch or remove their YouTube channel. They just now must go by their real names.
Yeah, and that's a simple thing.
When you create intellectual property, when you're trying to make money, businesses do this all the time. Vince changes your name 9 times out of 10, unless you're a big enough star, because he's trying to build a new merchandise brand around you.
Yep.
So here's the deal, everybody. Now that I know their clarification stance on it, I still don't agree with it. I still don't think they should do it. No. But here's the deal. I'm not as mad as I was, because here's the deal. Up, up, down, down can continue. Limitless Lady with Lacey Evans can continue, although I do think those two are more associated with WWE.
I think so.
Yeah. I don't think they ever had anything to worry about. But the thing is that AJ Styles, that's his real name, he can stay on Twitch. Randall Keith Orton, that's his real name, he can stay on Twitch. Here's the deal. You guys are going to boast about a night where the only two three things. One, you got over 1 million for the first time. Congratulations, first time in 9 months. Way to go.
No competition either.
Way to go. We all wanted to watch wrestling, and you were by yourself, so we ended up watching.
We were forced to.
Yeah. Number 2, the biggest thing and the only thing that I remember anyone talking about over the last week from that show is Miro debuts. Yeah. That's it.
Former.
Former.
I'm going to emphasize this. Former WWE. Former WWE. He sure be.
And let's clarify this because we had a conversation in the lounge. I am not saying that Miro shouldn't have done it. I am not saying that I have a problem with Miro doing it. And here's the other thing. I don't have an issue with the fact that, you know what, look, some of Vince's greatest stars were not WWE homegrown guys. No. They all wrestled for other companies. They've all done other things. I'm not saying that he can't go work there. But you are trying to tell me that you're going to win based off of the only 1 million number you've drawn since week 3 of this damn show.
Yeah. 2 times they've done it, and they
did. Well, they did it the first 3 weeks.
Okay, they did.
4
times they've done this.
Yeah, but the thing about it is this: you guys are sitting here, and you're boasting about the fact that you got views for three things. Number 1, it was the only damn show on.
Yeah.
Number 2, Miro showed up, and number 3, all he did was take a pot shot at WWE. That's all he did. And all I see on the internet these days is him in that dopey blonde haircut of his come out, and he continues to just smile and nod and say, "Oh, I love it here. Everyone's so respectful. Everyone's so hungry and fiery." Yeah, because they're finally getting paid for this instead of working out of bingo halls, bro. It's really not hard to see why they're excited.
And I'm saying, everybody talks about, they're so good. I was like, okay.
And no shot at bingo hall wrestling. I love me some small shows.
Yeah, but all of their champions in AEW, all former WWE.
Minus Hikaru Shida.
Okay, besides the women's, but it's like, come on, if you want to be better and be better in WWE, have somebody that was not a former WWE guy with the title.
But the problem is, Leroy, is
they need to grow.
Well, that, but also what gets you views will always be talent and stars, and sadly, the stars of their company don't want to seem favoritistic, so they boost up these guys who are like, oh, you're gonna pay me more than Vince was? Cool. I get to do what I want? Cool. I pretty much get to keep the fame that Vince gave me? Cool. Guys, I don't care that they're all former WWE guys. That I don't care about that. But my biggest thing is that you're sitting here and you're going to try to explain to me over and over and over and over again that you're going to win because you hit $1 million on a night when everybody knew NXT wasn't going to run a show. In fact, they ran a repeat on the Sci-Fi Channel. But it was a repeat. We already knew the results. Of course no one's going to rewatch it. Because it's a rerun, you morons. You're live. You should be better than a rerun.
And with that comment, I wish I had the nice little audio of a thing of beating a dead horse. Because how many times we've said that is kind of like a beating a dead horse a few times.
That's all it is at this point.
Yeah, I don't have that audio, which I wish I did.
It's awful. Anyway,
it'd be funny.
But no, it's just, here's the deal. Brock is not going to AEW.
No.
He's not, because again, and by the way, the same thing that I told Eric last week is exactly what Jim Cornette, reiterated in a different way. Brock is used to a level of professionalism
that they don't have.
And on top of that, Eric can sit here as a fan of the Indies just like me, and he can say, I think Brock versus Cody or Kenny would be a great match. It's not selling the pay-per-view numbers that Brock Lesnar is used to. Why is Brock Lesnar the biggest box office attraction in UFC? Because they didn't put him in the ring or in the octagon with random heavyweights. Shane Carwin, undefeated. Keith the Crazy Horse Herring, the next big thing at the time. Randy Couture, Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Frank Mir, Hall of Famer. Oversteam, hottest thing in the heavyweight division at the time. Mark Hunt, big, tough, super Samoan guy. Brock Lesnar doesn't fight scrubs.
Yeah, the only one that is worthy of him in AEW right now to fight is Jericho. I mean, name-wise and recognition, that's about it.
And by the way, Jericho don't want no part of that.
No, he doesn't.
Jericho, you can do as much DDP as you want, folks. Jericho at his age ain't getting into shape to fight Brock Lesnar.
He'd get broken after that.
That ain't happening. Yeah. But Brock Lesnar versus Marco Stunt? No. Brock Lesnar versus Lance Archer? Maybe, but you'd have to build Lance Archer better.
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay, so Leroy, I'm going to do a little thing here. I'm going to throw some matches possibilities of Brock Lesnar out at you in AEW. Tell me if you'd like to see it or not. And by the way, folks, if you think I'm just coming up with names just to make fun of them, these are real AEW competitors, so you can't argue with me.
Yeah, you can look them all up.
Brock Lesnar versus Cody. Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
Brock Lesnar versus Colt Cabana. I love you, Colt.
I like Colt, but no.
Brock Lesnar versus Kenny.
No.
Brock Lesnar would stand there for 2 minutes and watch Kenny do his little finger pointy, dancy, happy feet thing, and he would laugh about as hard as...
And then eat him for lunch.
Well, not only that, but he'd laugh about as hard as he did at R-Truth.
That's true, yes.
And then he'd snap Kenny in half.
Yeah.
Brock in a handicap match versus the Young Bucks.
That'd be funny to watch.
It'd be funny to watch.
But Brady, he'd take one of them and shove it up the other one's ass.
Let me change the criteria.
Okay.
Tell me if you want to see this based on if you think it's going to be a big money match, okay?
Okay, all right.
Brock versus Sonny Kiss.
No.
Brock versus Joey Janela.
No.
Brock versus Luchasaurus.
Well,
maybe
that would be interesting.
Brock versus Jungle Boy would need a good build, but
yes,
maybe
that would be. I think it would be good.
I think Brock versus Hangman Page, but I think Hangman Page needs another year before he's really on the level to give Brock anything in that company.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yes.
Goddamn. Brock in a handicap match versus the Best Friends. When they go for a hug, he'll just suplex both of them.
Yeah, that's about right. That would end. Yeah,
just
that's a squash match.
And by the way, for those of you sitting there like, what about Brock and John Mox? I saw it.
Yeah,
it wasn't good.
No,
it was bad.
Him. He killed him.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
Brock versus Brian Cage. If Cage can get a little more tight in the ring, yeah.
That would two big guys, but he doesn't. But Brock doesn't always work good against big guys.
No,
that's unfortunate.
Well, okay. The sad part about this is that Cage would have to be the smaller guy in the match. Cage would have to sit there and he would have to work the Lucha Underground style that he was working in Lucha Underground. He would have to.
He could pull that off, I think.
He would have to work small.
Yeah.
Is basically my point. But okay. By the way, I've run out of people that I care about.
Yeah, because they're really
Brock versus Dustin Rhodes, maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah, Dustin can't do it.
Not at 52.
No. I love him.
You all can sit here and laugh and say Brock's 42, 43. Brock still can go better than just about anybody. Sorry.
Oh God, yes,
It's just a thing. But that's my point. Is just he's not going because there's a level of professionalism that won't be there, which is exactly what I said. There's a level of they won't cater to him that he's used to, which I said, and there isn't a single person down there that is going to sell the pay-per-view numbers that are worth paying Brock.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. The only match you have is Jericho, and we all know Jericho ain't going to do it at 49, 50 years old.
And Brock can sit back, relax, and enjoy some free time to spend with his family, and then if he wants to, bring him back during the Royal Rumble.
I'm okay.
Set up.
I'm okay.
And that's fine.
Look, again, I agreed with him last week that Brock coming in would be great for the business of wrestling.
Oh, yes.
And I still think that maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing, but the problem is that if you're going to build him to a pay-per-view, no one is a legitimate threat to Brock Lesnar.
No.
In that company. Lance Archer is your best chance. But you would have to rebuild Lance Archer from the ground up to be able to work with Brock Lesnar.
And I don't think Brock would waste his time.
No.
I mean, he can get his paycheck from WWE, or he could decide.
Or he can go back to the UFC and just be like, "Hey, Dana, pay me $5 million for this fight." Okay. Brock just made him $5 million regardless. Yeah. By the way, when Brock Lesnar loses in UFC, he's still making more money than the other guy.
Yeah. And
the winner's purse means nothing to Brock because the advertisement alone goes to Brock.
He could retire too and say, "Yeah, I'm done," and not want to do anything.
He could just go live on his farm for crying out loud.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame him for that either.
Okay, so anyway,
all right. Where are we hit next?
I don't know. So we did your rant. We did all out.
Yeah, I feel better after my little rant.
That's fair.
I'll go after somebody.
Payback. We're 2 weeks out instead of a week out. Payback was kind of a quick little show. There wasn't really a lot to it. I don't know. Bayley and Sasha, I think we'll talk about when there's more people around, but I want to point something out. So far, it's good. I don't like that they've announced that Sasha's coming back, but hold on.
I saw that too.
Hold on. If Sasha comes back and still can't compete, I'm okay.
Okay, yes.
If it's via satellite, perfect. Bring her back. Don't care.
Yeah. It sounds like she's actually going to be there.
If she comes back on a crutch or with a neck brace, I'm okay. But don't come back healthy, is all I'm going to say. I don't care that you bring her back. Because here's the deal. If we're talking reality, in reality, we know Sasha's not dead. Yeah. So, Sasha, you would think after 2 weeks would be conscious. Physically be able to form a sentence.
And if they do bring her back, if she is sporting, her knee is still aggravating, whatever like that, and
crutches,
crutches, whatever.
I don't care. Bayley could come
out. Bayley could come out again, and hurt her again.
Yeah.
And then legitimately have her out for a month or two, and then have her come back. People that were hitting online saying that the next pay-per-view, the Clash of Champions, that she's going to be added to the card for that, and I'm like, no. Please, no. Do not have her 3 away from that because it's just not going to work.
If they don't put it on Clash of Champions, I guarantee you they could spread this till WrestleMania or SummerSlam.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They could stretch it all the way until January and have a tease for it at Royal Rumble, and boom.
So, Payback. Again, I think at this point we've waited too long. Everyone kind of knows the result. it was kind of a thrown together thing to sort of move some storylines.
Yeah, it was.
This is where I'll criticize WWE. Kind of like I said, the big like I think it was 8 or 10 man tag match on All Out could have been on Dynamite. This could have just been a SmackDown or a Raw. Nobody would care.
Yeah.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, NXT had Super Tuesday 1 and 2, which I thought was phenomenal both nights. Your thoughts on the 60-minute Iron Man match?
I liked it. I had everything here.
It's all good. I think all 4 guys came off equally good.
Yes.
I don't think you killed anybody's credibility. I do think the Adam Cole thing at the last second was phenomenal. I think that was a great build-up to a very good match between Adam Cole and Finn Balor. Finn Balor is your new NXT champion, the third man ever to hold it twice. Great, fantastic, love it. It's phenomenal. Finn definitely deserved it.
Oh yeah, I definitely would have not liked if they would have got him back.
Right away, you mean?
To Adam Cole, I mean,
yeah,
I like Adam Cole, but I think having him do it that quickly, yeah. I don't think I mean, they could now. I mean, I did like seeing the backstage where they're talking to him. Adam Cole came up to him, shook his hand. It was cool. Good sportsmanship there. That could lead to a feud with those guys eventually.
Yeah.
And them working together, they had a great match between the 2 weeks.
Yep.
I think it'll be great. I mean, yeah, the cage match at the end, that was... I didn't think...
Rhea Ripley, I'll say it again. She looks like a star.
Yes, she does.
She does. If you want to have her and Charlotte again, I ain't going to say no.
No, that would be good.
I'm not going to say no. I think that Mercedes Martinez has a unique opportunity to probably, now that she's no longer with the Robert Stone brand, she has the ability to move on and go be a badass. Yeah. I like that Imperium is in a real feud with Breeze and Fandango.
Yeah.
I love Wade Barrett on commentary. I don't know what it is. He's good at commentary.
I'm really glad they brought him back to do commentary. Oh, yeah. I mean, he doesn't have to wrestle. His commentary is
good.
Is great. I love it.
Yeah. 100% liked it. Again, Super Tuesday 1 and 2, I think they did a good job capitalizing on the fact they were alone on those nights. They were back in the 800,000s for the first time in a while.
Yeah.
I think, even though it's not on our list, I can say this. We talked about it on last week's show. We'll talk about it again next week. But our personal opinions, separate the shows. Put NXT on Tuesday.
They plan on putting NXT back on Wednesday right now.
Yeah, I know.
So.
But here's my thing. Both shows obviously have a fan base. We're not going to argue that. But I think it's better long term for both shows if we just turn around and say, hey, no more war. Yes, you can say that AEW won by the numbers, but in my opinion, those numbers are skewed based on the fact that people were going to watch anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to do if AEW is going to do a second show, it's like, yeah, we got Monday wrestling, we got Tuesday wrestling. They can have their Wednesday. They can put a show on Thursday.
Because that worked out so well for Thursday Night Thunder.
Well, yeah, But, whatever, it's AEW. They can try a second show, and then...
You know what I would love to see?
And then we have it every single day.
Hear me out. You know what I would love to see? Put wrestling back on Saturday mornings.
Hey, yes.
Put wrestling on 6 a.m. It could be like Heat or Velocity. But
you think that early at 6 a.m. you think it would be? Or later?
Well, okay, here's my thought process. And sadly, I'm using the Spot Monkey roster instead of the WWE roster.
Okay.
Try to get the young audience back. That's how we got into it. We sat up there and watched it with our parents, or we found it on a rerun on Saturday mornings. You know what? I feel like Saturday morning cartoons have really gone by the wayside. Kids aren't getting up.
No, they're not.
When I was little, I got up at 6 a.m. before the rest of the house was awake. I went downstairs, I turned on the TV, and I watched TV for 3-4 hours. And in my opinion, you get kids to rediscover it by putting it on Saturday mornings.
Yeah, I mean, my son, when he gets in the morning, he's either Playing video games or watching YouTube.
Yeah.
And that's what he does.
Yeah. But it's just I don't even remember the last time we had wrestling on Saturday mornings.
God, it's been years.
I know TNA was doing sort of a 1 hour condensed version of their show on Saturday mornings for a while, back when Spike still was a thing. But this is my thing, is just if you're gonna do a second show, don't do it during the week. Try the weekends. Put it on TBS first thing in the morning between the 6 and 9 hour block.
Yeah, that would work. Yeah, and boom. It's
nice.
nice.
Now, again, whether or not I personally agree with this, you and I have had our conversations about this, so we're not going to get into it. Saturday's not a church day, so it doesn't affect kids going to church with their family.
Well, it depends on the time of the season.
Fair.
With Catholics, sometimes
the Catholics are always 4.
But usually it's Saturday.
The only good thing the Catholics ever did was come up with a 4:30 in the afternoon service. That's the only thing.
Yeah, and that's what they usually do on Saturday. Yeah. So they're done, so they can sleep in.
But that's my thing, is just put wrestling back on Saturday mornings.
Yeah.
Would it kill you? No.
It'd be fun.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is spread it out. The sport will get better. The sport will get healthier. And I'm not saying you have to work with each other, but it's not beneficial, this war. It's beneficial to you and me because we get to compare the two.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not beneficial to the two shows if it splits the wrestling fan base. I think that they would all get healthier if they would just split themselves up and they would just turn around and be like, hey, we're just going to go do this type of deal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
All right, so moving on here. The G1.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, the G1 Climax tournament of New Japan Pro Wrestling, which was moved due to the Olympics, which are now postponed, is still happening despite the pandemic. This year, we're going to try to get Bug on the show here in a couple of weeks to really talk about some past G1
great.
stuff. But we're going to talk about right now just the field. It's stacked. Holy buckets. I honestly don't know which block I like better.
Yeah. They have two great blocks, and
I believe this is also the 30th ever official G1.
Yes, it is entitled G1.
They've been having this tournament
30 Summit.
Well, they've been having this tournament for about 50, 60 years now, but it's only been called the G1 for about 30 years.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, they had it before. Like I said, that little nugget I had for history that Andre was one of the first ones.
I mean, look. Leroy, Block A. Look at this.
Yeah.
You got Ibushi. You got Cobb. You got Okada. You got Ishii. You got Will Ospreay. Whether or not people like Will Ospreay anymore, I don't know. We'll deal with that later.
Yeah.
You got Shingo Takagi. Mirano Suzuki, who might be the baddest man in wrestling right now. That dude is just ridiculous. Taichi, Jay White is in Block A. I love Jay White right now. Jay White's back. That's great.
Yeah.
You got so Takahashi is in Block A.
Yeah.
Tanahashi is in the Block B. Which, by the way, I like that Look, I like the sort of yearly match we get of Tanahashi versus Okada.
Yeah.
So maybe I would have preferred them to be in the same block, but look at the matchups that Tanahashi could have. He's got Juice Robinson, who's had a great Japan run. Hiroki Goto, who is phenomenal in the ring. I don't know if Goto's ever really going to be a top ace type person in New Japan, but a great competitor. Love him. Toru Yano, Yoshihashi, the now once again new Tetsu Naito double champion, is in the tournament. Sonata, big year for Sonata in my opinion to really break out in that. You've got Kenta, you've got Zack Sabre Jr., which, by the way, even though we all know Sabre is probably not going to win because he's a gaijin mostly, puts on great matches.
Yeah, he does.
His British strong style fits well in these New Japan matches.
Oh yeah.
And then of course you have Evil.
Oh yeah.
Who is now Bullet Club all day. But my God, just September 19th coming up here. is the first night.
Yeah, 19th and 20th.
Yeah, 19th and 20th, the first
back
two
to
nights.
And you see, I got a list. I gave you a list of, and they do have on Wikipedia. They had the list of the blocks going who would wrestle who on each night. And I had the first two nights out here for you.
Okay, I just want to point something out. That first night, Block A, great matches. No offense to the rest of those guys, but I'm skipping right to the two matches I can't wait to see. First of all, Ishii versus Suzuki. That's going to be a hard-hitting affair.
Yeah.
That's going to be knockdown, drag-out, brawl style. Love it. And then, of course, you can never go wrong with Okada versus last year's winner, Ibushi.
Oh, yeah.
You can't go wrong with Okada versus Ibushi.
Can.
But yeah, no, that's what I want to see the first night. Second night, I'm looking at it. Sabre, first of all, to get Tanahashi and Naito first night, or second night, first night of Block B.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a start to Block B. That's phenomenal. I like that Goto faces Kenta right away. That's going to be a good opening round matchup for each of them to get ready. Sabre versus Evil. Love it. Great. I think Evil and Sabre can work well together. I'm looking forward to this year's G1. Not a lot going on in wrestling, but it's a great opportunity here to just showcase a lot of really great talent, not just in New Japan, but a lot of the talent that's Gaijin based that comes to New Japan.
And this goes for basically 2 months.
Yep.
Just about from the September 19th, and then the last one is going to be October 16th.
Yeah, it goes to mid-October.
I mean, that's
a
lot of wrestling.
I think I'll save predictions for when we get Bug on here, but all I can say is, damn, I'm looking forward to this year because these blocks, I don't remember a year where they were this stacked.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you've got talent, you've got charisma, you've got past winners, you've got champions, you've got so much in there. It's going to be a really good, very, very heavy Japanese-based G1 this year.
Oh, yes, it is.
Last year, 2 years ago, sorry, Ibushi won last year. But 2 years ago, I think you had a few more of the Gaijins in it. You had Archer, Cobb, Mox was in it. Bad Luck Fale was in there as well.
I think just from what's going on in the world right now, I can understand why it's going to be more heavy on that side, But hey,
what I also think is interesting is this looks like the first G1, I would say, in the last few years that I don't think it's going to be as Bullet Club centric as it has been in the past.
No, I don't think
Bullet Club, 1 year they basically lost every match. They just wanted to cause chaos and beat people up. Other years, they've kind of mixed the results in their own favor. They've been throwing matches in order to get guys higher in the rankings, all that kind of stuff. This year, it seems like at least, again, it's Bullet Club. They can do whatever the hell they want. But at least for me, this year, I think we definitely are sitting here with a stacked 2 blocks. I'm super, super excited as to where I think we're going to go with this. I can't wait to sit there and watch the G1 tournament. It's phenomenal. Every year they put on a great live show, and it's just super duper looking forward to it in my opinion.
Oh yeah, some good hard hitting wrestling that we all so much enjoy. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, since it's just me and Leroy today, we kind of just want to give some quick opinions that we're gonna expand on next week when we get a few more people here. Leroy, I enjoyed this. I always kind of like when it's just you and me. We can kind of throw some fun, quick sessions together, get some opinions on there, and I enjoyed this show.
Oh, and let you know too. I know I told you I been trying to register for the Thunderdome.
Fantastic.
I actually got in on Saturday. Got the confirmation email that I'm in there.
All right.
And now it sounds like I have to wait until Monday. Okay. So Monday I'll find out. I'll get, as I said, they send you an email.
Yeah.
And you only can use the link once in there. So I'm like, okay, cool. So it'll be kind of fun. I hope I get on there, and I'll be able to tell you your experience. Yes? Okay, dinner's going to be soon. I love my kids. She's a hungry little girl, just like her daddy.
Yes.
But yeah, hopefully, next weekend or soon after, I'll be able to.
We're definitely gonna
talk about that experience because my kids were excited that I was going to get in that.
Leroy, I am not saying this because I think you're a bad person. I'm saying this out of all respect. No Ku Klux Klan meetings during your.
No. The most I'd have is I have a little cross.
Okay. All right.
That might offend the atheists, but
who knows?
Whatever.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for paying attention to just the two of us on this somewhat quick edition of the show. Always fun to do these sort of quick shows to sort of get our opinions out there, talk about some stuff.
Well, it's good that we can go just the two of us, back and forth. It's great.
It's a ton of fun. Anyway, subscribe to us on YouTube. Obviously, we now have the Allison Chronicles up to chapter 18. Allison is
wonderful show that we added.
Allison's having a lot of fun.
You have to tell her thank you for that. I loved it. It was a great idea.
I believe 9 podcasts are now officially on our YouTube page.
I'll be throwing up the 10th one here soon. So
Moments of Merch episode 3 on its way. There's some more Darren Corbin merch we have to go through. Yes. I don't want people to think that Darren Corbin is the main focus of Moments of Merch. He just happens to be the man that we order a lot of merch from and get it very quickly. So.
And I've orders from Funny Bone too.
Oh, fantastic!
So I got him too.
Episode 3 going to be up on our YouTube here in a couple of weeks. We'll film that.
Yeah, we got to figure that out.
Yep. Anyway, also again, as always, we're on Podomatic.com. We are on Spotify, iTunes as well. Go listen to us, download us, and like I said, for those of you out there that are not just our friends and family, if you have any opinions on the show, please message us and get back to us. We'd love to have you on. And thank you all so much.